WoodwardSports.com on an amazing Monday morning. The Detroit Lions making more headline news, but Jeff, I want to ask you something. I think you know exactly where I'm going with this, which is Brad Holmes. The moves he has made are all non-committal. To me, there is zero risk involved here. My evaluation of the situation is he's going all in on Dan Campbell.
Yep.
He's going all in on Jared Goff. And he, along with the front office and the coaching staff, want to prove that Jared Goff is the right guy, that you can with him, even though we all know this to be true because he's done it before. But regardless, they're going to give him all of the necessary tools to succeed. And by the end of the 2023-2024 NFL season, you will have clarity for the good or for the bad. For better or for worse, you will have clarity on your coaching and quarterback. And to me, God bless you, Brad. Hell of a job. Jeff?
Yeah, it's for both Dan and Jared. I mean, you're going to find out, number one, Jared Goff now, you talk about the discount he's making at $30 million. Well, now you go get guys that are non-committal. You sign guys that are non-committal, like Emmanuel Mosley, 1-year deal. Chauncey, 1-year deal. We'll see if they bring Chark back. They still got to make some moves. But even if they don't, the fact that you go into this offseason, they already had a really young, talented, up-and-coming defensive line. We know what kind of records they set in franchise history, but the secondary was always the problem. A year ago, your best corner last season, Jeff Okudah. This season, your best corner, Cam Sutton. Your second best, Emmanuel Mosley. Your third best, who's going to play in the nickel, Chauncey. Your top three corners were just added in free agency. This is going to tell us a lot, Adam. Not only about Jared, but about Dan Campbell as well. You have a 2-year window right now with Jared Goff before you have to decide if you're going to pay him or not. This is your time to capitalize. They're non-committal. You're still going to have money in the future, which is something that I praise Brad for. And that's why we always say, when we say Brad operates differently, this is why. You're not throwing money at guys. And if he does, like a Cam Sutton, you know it'll be a good payoff because, again, Cam Sutton playing some of his best football, 28 years old, and in his prime at the moment. And even what he's getting paid isn't bad. So for Brad, it's been timely moves. It's correct. He's not jumping the gun and signing guys, overpaying for guys. He's taking the time, feeling the free agency market. Chauncey didn't sign a deal yet. It was reported the Eagles offered him a 3-year deal. He took the Lions' offer instead to go play with Aaron Glenn, or for Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell. And we'll see. This helps Tracy Walker as well. You have Tracy coming off an Achilles injury. This honestly takes more pressure off of Tracy. Now you get more guys in your secondary. It changes a little what they do in the draft, Adam, but the fact that they have assets in the draft in a month on top of what they did in free agency, the Lions got significantly better, and this is important because one thing I've been discussing for weeks now is how is this team going to handle these expectations? Because the last 2 seasons, you didn't have much. I mean, even last year, win 7 games. They won 9. Okay, you exceeded them. This year, it's different. Now you're looked at as legitimate contenders in the NFC. We all believe that. The team offensively, we know what they have. Hopefully they can bring back Chark, but even if they don't, they draft a wide receiver. You got a pretty good offense. You upgraded the running back position at David Montgomery. You still are bringing back one of the better offensive lines in the league. You got Jared Goff. Say what you want about him. I might have went on a rant last week about Lamar and Goff, but all that being said, Goff can still win the division. He can still win a playoff game. You're giving him the necessary tools to be able to do that. Now, defensively is the big thing. You mentioned 8-2 down the stretch with that defense. Well, guess what? Defense got even better. You got Aiden, Josh Pascal, Aleem McNeil. These guys getting better. And on top of that, you got your linebacker core, Malcolm Rodriguez, Alex Anzalone, which, again, they're all right. But this defense isn't complete. They're going to still be able to add in the draft. We'll see what they do. Maybe they trade up if they can land a Jalen Carter if he falls, or you can get a Will Anderson. Brad is not done cooking. And that's the big thing to take away. And if you look at the free agency signings too, Chauncey, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, 3 players from 3 different organizations, all respected. Cam Sutton played for Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. Chauncey with the Eagles, played in the Super Bowl. You look at Emmanuel Mosley, very respected, played for DeMeco Ryans, played with the 49ers. DeMeco wanted him in Houston. These are 3 guys that have, pedigree. That's the most important thing. You signed him for non-committal deals. You're still going to have money next offseason. What Brad is doing and how he's operating, along with the coaching staff, Sheila Hamp, it's different. Now, we'll see. They still got to go out and put it together. So the expectation thing, you want those expectations. We do. You want divisional expectations. You want NFC contenders, that type of expectation. Now they got to go out and do it. But it's a great. The fact that Brad was able to address all these holes before the draft, it's significant. Because I'm going to be honest, Adam, even though we talked about free agency, I didn't think Brad would go get big fish with this type of deal. You get one of the best free agents on the market for a 1-year non-committal deal, please. It's unreal what he's doing. It really is. It's impressive.
Actions speak louder than words. This is a front office, a football team, an organization that is very intentional on what they're doing. The intent behind it is very simple. They know very damn well that if they want to change the perception of the Detroit Lions, get the franchise to actually start accomplishing things, that they have to win. And they have to be serious about it. And that it's not only just working through the draft. There's many ways to win in the NFL. It typically comes from an excellent balance, of course, of free agents and young talent through the NFL draft. And you just so happen to see Brad Holmes bringing all of it to the table this year. We talked about it. Oh, well, would Brad Holmes be able to spend the money wisely? He's good in the draft. Well, here's your first sample, bitch, and he doesn't even have much money to spend. So we can eliminate that theory. Also, when anybody says Brad Holmes is the greatest GM in Detroit Lions history, that's not hyperbole. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. Granted, he's not competing with much, but that still is a fact. He's been excellent. It's on the coaching. It's on the players. They got to go out and execute. Oh, and hello? Yeah. Oh, I was just told that the Lions still have picks number 6, 18, 48, and 55. Oh, my goodness. What an offseason this is going to be. September couldn't come soon enough. My goodness. Flannel Sam, good morning, buddy. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm a lot better now after last night. It's funny because the man who's usually in the booth, JB, the great JB, he's kind of like the Adam Schefter of this network. I saw it on my phone. Lions signed CJ Gardner-Johnson to 1-year, $8 million deal, and I couldn't believe it. I did a double take like both of you guys, that they actually got it done with a guy who was, at this point in free agency, sort of the prize. Mm-hmm. And they did it on a prove-it deal. It's unbelievable. What Brad Holmes has done this offseason is add Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, David Montgomery, and CJ Gardner-Johnson basically on team-friendly deals. 2 of them on prove-it deals and 2 of them on 3-year deals for relatively cheap. They're not hamstrunging their future. They're not going all in right now at the expense of the future. This is a team that is going to be instantly better next year. They completely reshaped their secondary from being one of their weaknesses to one of their strengths, at least on paper. And this is a team, like we all say, they should win the division. That's a non-negotiable right now. That is the absolute expectation.
And Sam, you're not from Michigan.
I'm not.
You're not?
No, I'm from Illinois.
I value his input because think about it like
Pussy
this,
state.
too. For Chauncey, for Emmanuel Mosley, for DJ Chark, guys that take these flyer deals. Sam, when in Lions history, if you're a guy like Chauncey who, if you really want a 1-year prove-it deal, I can name you 32 teams that would take it or that would offer you it. Why is it different? These guys choose the Lions because they think they are going to a situation where they could play some of their best ball and get paid. Tell me why it's different. Why are guys coming recently now with 3 guys I just named, Mosley, Chauncey, and DJ Chark? How significant is that? To come to Detroit and think that you can get paid from coming to Detroit, not being overpaid to come to Detroit, where careers most likely and sometimes often come to die. It's very different now, Sam.
No, you can't overstate the significance of it. I mean, everybody is aware around the league. I mean, the Lions sort of put the league on notice at the end of last season. They obviously started off the year very, very, very slow, but they rebounded. In the last 10 games, they were 8-2, and the defense improved. They went from a defense that was historically bad in the first 7 or so games to pretty damn good in the last 10. And that was with a defense that was still young. And if you add these veteran players, like completely reshaping their secondary, they're probably thinking, I can be a part of a defense that is, say, top 20, top 15 in the NFL, given the fact that the Lions already have an offense that was top 5 in scoring. These guys are all coming from winning organizations. Cam Sutton, Pittsburgh, Emmanuel Mosley, San Francisco, and CJ Gardner-Johnson, Philly. They're not trying to go lose. But they look at the Detroit Lions as a team that is coming, that is ascending, that can challenge teams that they were on the previous year for the NFC. This really is unlike anything I've ever seen in Detroit Lions history, and that is why in year 3, coming into his third offseason, Brad Holmes is undisputedly the greatest GM in Detroit Lions history already. Not close.
And I got to say, too, more credit. And I don't want this to get lost because Brad deserves a ton of credit, but also the fact that Aaron Glenn, and Dan Campbell deserves credit, too, but Aaron Glenn, what he's done, well, at least helping attract these guys. I mean, Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, and Chauncey, players that look at Aaron Glenn. And we gave Aaron Glenn some heat last year for what this defense looked like. But the fact that these guys, specifically the secondary players, the DBs, come to Detroit to play for Aaron Glenn and believe they can play some of their best football at him, it speaks volumes.